Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, this is a very, very important week that you are going to want to be prepared for. This is the second week of August, and I'm going to be covering August 8th through the 15th. And within this time frame, we're in eclipse season, serious eclipse season, because the solar eclipse will happen on the 12th. And you're going to be feeling this energy. Trust me, this is giant. So, as you know, I'm following the moon, and as the moon goes through different signs and nakshatras, it really does give a sense of where the well-being, emotions of the world, the people are. So this is all being calculated from Central Time. And remember, if you want all of these predictions of where the planets are in the heavens relative to your own personal birth chart, you're going to want my Galactic Planner. Check it out. Go to galacticplanner.com or you can go to the App Store. It's an app now. So Galactic Planner, that's going to give you the predictions you need. Now let's get going and let's talk about Saturday, August 8th. Interesting that in China, they love the number 8. August 8th would be such an auspicious time. But what is going on astrologically? The moon is in Taurus. Most all of the day, by the evening, it will be in Gemini. But right now, as I'm looking at Central Time Zone, it is in Taurus most of the day, most all of the day. So while it's here, it's in the nakshatra called Mrigashira. And this nakshatra deals with the hunt, the chase. It can deal with searching for things. So it is all about searching and finding. So if there's something that you're looking for, even shopping for, this is the day to do it. It really is. That's what it's all about. But also looking at this, let's see. So the 8th, yeah, we're looking at Saturn is still at 20 degrees and it's still influencing the sun pretty heavily at 21 Cancer. So be aware of this. Now, I want to say that today it could be a calm. It could be a calm. So yeah, the moon here isn't necessarily aspecting anything too heavily, but do remember by the evening, we're going to have the moon going into Gemini. So let's move forward to Sunday, August 9th. We have the moon in Gemini all day. It will cross over Mars, so that makes for intensity. I gotta say, that's an intense time. And with it being in Gemini, people are more talkative. They're communicating more. But the moon is in the nakshatra called Ardra. And Ardra's symbol, I have to be honest with you, it's a teardrop. It could deal with sadness. So that's something to look out for. And with Mars on the moon, people are angry and sad all at the same time. And Ardra can even deal with bad weather, so be aware that this is the day that things are heated up more so. Now, on the 9th, Mercury, I always look at the quincunx aspect, because the quincunx is really, it's a 6-8, 8-6 relationship, and it's a struggling aspect. It creates problems, and Mercury today at 5 degrees will be in a quincunx to Rahu. Rahu's 5 degrees of Aquarius and Mercury's 5 degrees of Cancer. So emotionally, things are not operating well. People are not communicating well with Mercury being in the sign of Cancer. It's all about people are afraid. They're looking for protection. And that's a real issue around this time. The whole time that Mercury, which deals with the thinking mind, is in Cancer. Here's another thing. With the moon being in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury being in Cancer, which is ruled by the moon, we have a moon-Mercury parivartana. There, it's called mutual exchange of signs. People will be overthinking things. People will be unbalanced mentally. So wait till the moon, well, I can't even say when the moon goes into Cancer, it's not going to be better. People are unstable for the next few days. I'll tell you when Mercury, or when the moon goes, well, that won't even help when it goes into Leo. So be aware, people are a little bit crazy right now. Did you know that the moon lunatic came from the moon's word lunar? So just think of it in that way. Now I'm looking at August 10th. This is a Monday. And the moon is still in Gemini, but it goes into one of my favorite nakshatras, Purnavasu, which can mean return of the light. But we still have this mutual exchange of signs with Mercury and the moon. So that can be still, people are not thinking in their right mind. People are a little bit crazy, lunatic kind of stuff going on. Really, when you really want to find if someone's mental capacities are compromised in a chart, you're going to find that Mercury and the moon coming together or in exchange can deal with this, because they overthink too much. They can't stop thinking. That's what's going on today. So I want you to be very aware. Now, Mars is in trine to Rahu. So that's another thing, Mars trine Rahu. When Rahu trines Mars or Mars trines Rahu, this is extreme. There is so much going on with fighting, with anger, frustration. You know, it never seems to stop. We're in radical times right now. And we are closing into the dark moon right before the eclipse. So this is a time of deep introspection. It is not a time to start new things. Trust me. Another thing that's going on today is that Neptune and Venus are opposing one another. This is tough because you can't see clearly in relationships. Maybe you might fall in love or have some ideas about someone. They're not realistic. They're not truthful. So watch yourself today. Now I'm looking at August 11th. And this is a Tuesday, ruled by Mars. I always pay attention to Tuesdays because of that. But what I'm looking at now is the moon is in Cancer, and it will cross over Mercury, which means people are overthinking things. They can't stop thinking. And I have to say, with the moon and Mercury together in Cancer, that there's a lot more fear circulating around. Yes, absolutely. There is a lot of fear going on. Fear mongering, if I could say. Okay. So another thing about today is that Mercury will be exactly opposed Pluto. And this means people obsess about things mentally, and they're not in their right mind. So keep to yourself. Do not take other people's opinions because they're not realistic. Furthermore, Mercury is in a trinal aspect to Neptune. So it's opposed Pluto, trine Neptune. Wow. Mercury Neptune, it's a great day for creative talent, for creating things, but people are obsessive and people are not in their right mind. So lay low, but it is a good time that you can introspect and be more creative. just dealing with other people is crazy. Okay, so there's another aspect going on. Venus is trine Uranus this day, and wow, it's like the 3 outer planets come alive. This is a day of the collective energies. People are shifting how they feel. It's sort of like it's a day of consciousness will shift, and relationships may come into being quickly, suddenly. It's a time of expect the unexpected today. And guess what? It is the day before the solar eclipse. And the moon will cross over Jupiter. People will be deeply, profoundly thinking about things. And I think with all this planetary energy, it's not a time to make any decisions because we are in a dark, dark moon. I don't care if it's with Jupiter or not. Jupiter is still, well, it's almost out of the range of being combust, but it's still heavily influenced by the sun. So now we are talking about August 12th, the solar eclipse at 25 degrees of Cancer. So what does that mean? Well, Cancer is all about protection. And the eclipse is where the sun and the moon come together. Even though Ketu, it is a Ketu eclipse, but Ketu's actually in Leo. But this eclipse is in Cancer. And it is in the nakshatra called Aslesha. Aslesha deals with the snake energy. It deals with deep, dark stuff that's being brought to the surface. And it's also a time of transformational change because the snake has to shed its skin. It's a time for renewal. But will it come easy? Absolutely not. This eclipse is an interesting one. And I will say this right now to put this in your thought, to plant this seed. November 3rd, Mars will be crossing over this eclipse degree, and that's when all hell will break out. And I think it's got something to do with the elections in the United States. The midterms are on that day. Look out. Crazy things are going to happen. All right. But it's all due to this eclipse degree. And let's see. So eclipses are a time of uncertainty, of fear. Remember, it is when the light of these planets, where the moon and the sun becomes darkened by this. And remember, I said that this eclipse path, where it's most readily seen on Earth, will cross over Greenland, Iceland, and Spain. Those are going to be the places where the most turbulence and problems do happen for the next 6 months. So now I'm looking at Thursday, August 13th. And on this day, we have the moon will cross over Ketu. So the after effects of this are profound, deep. We have a sense of, well, there's some kind of loss, emotional loss in this world. Right after the eclipse, people are feeling different. Are you feeling a sense of why am I dreaming about people from my past? Why am I thinking so much about the past? Yes, you are, because the moon will be with Ketu, which rules the past. Furthermore, it's in the nakshatra Magha, which deals with our ancestors that have gone before us. This is a time of total connection with our ancestry past. You will find your ancestors are visiting you, but most of all, they're giving you information about what's to come. Now that we've had the eclipse, now we have the waxing moon. Instead, it was waning for the past 2 weeks. Now we have new beginnings are starting, even though I think there's going to be a lot of intensity to come. So now I'm looking at Friday. This is August 14th. And the moon is in Leo. And I forgot to mention, while the moon is in Leo, ruled by the sun, and the sun is in Cancer, ruled by the moon, while the moon is in Leo, yesterday and today, we have another parivartana, a mutual exchange of signs. This can empower the sun and the moon for powers around leadership and rulership, but it is a moon with Ketu. It's better today than yesterday because the moon is in Purva Falguni, the nakshatra that deals with marriage and relationships. So this can be a time of working things out. Now the moon being tied up with Rahu and Ketu can make it intense. You're here to heal and work on your personal relationships today. And I think with the moon, with the sun right there, about 2 and 3 days leave Cancer, Jupiter is being strengthened, and Jupiter and Mercury are rising, coming together. They're very close today. So there is a feeling of more optimism today rather than the day before. So now I am looking at Saturday, August 15th. The moon goes into Virgo today, and so it leaves the Rahu-Ketu axes, which is much, much better. And Mercury is exactly conjunct Jupiter today. You may think that this is a day of extremes with the thought process, with communications. And because it's in Cancer, there's a little bit of insecurity going on. But optimism usually comes out of Jupiter. Jupiter is with Mercury, and the sun is well away from Jupiter now. Still in the same sign, but this is definitely much more powerful. Now, since the moon is in Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is in Cancer, which is ruled by the moon, we have another parivartana with the moon and Mercury again. So anytime the moon goes into Gemini or Virgo, we have this while Mercury is in Cancer. So people are not clear with their minds with this going on, and they will be more detailed oriented, and that's not necessarily good. They're being kind of over the top with looking at the details and being critical. But the moon will, while it's in Virgo, cross over Venus at some point, which will definitely help with relationship issues of the previous days that were a problem. So this is what needs to be looked at today. And the moon is still in a marriage nakshatra. This one is called Uttara Falguni, and it is actually a nakshatra of friendship. And the moon coming together with Venus, yes, things lighten up in the area of relations. Looking at this week, we have had the solar eclipse, which is definitely, as I say, eclipses can pretty much control things that deal with fear, because the light of the eclipses are really being tampered with, the light of the sun. And here's what I can always tell you from eclipse energy, that something you didn't know about will be revealed, and that will be extraordinarily helpful in terms of your spiritual growth. So with that, I'm going to close with the second week of August, and now we're going to look at the third week. So get ready for that video because that's going to tell you so much more. Now, if you want to learn more about me, go to my website, galacticcenter.org. And if you want the Galactic Planner, go to galacticplanner.com. And last but not least, if you want to study with me and become my student, go to universityofvedicastrology.com. Thank you.